This league really is untouchable. Somehow, by some miracle, NFL ratings are up significantly this season, and Uncle KC just can't figure out why. For 2 or 3 years now, I have been complaining about the NFL product. Now, I don't complain about the NFL to be a complainer. I don't complain about the NFL with the same level of vitriol or disdain like I do with the WNBA. Complaining about the WNBA, it gives me pleasure. I cannot stand pretend basketball, mainly because the vast majority of players in the WNBA dump are unlikable and unrelatable. How many of your wives or girlfriends can relate to Bob Griner? The reason I am constantly pointing out the problems in the NFL is because I know what this league can be. I know what it used to be. They set the standard. They are responsible for spoiling us. I grew up and I have spent most of my adult life watching the greatest quarterbacks to ever play in this league. Manning, Breeze, Brady, Big Ben, Prime Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Phillip Rivers. Guys like Matt Ryan, Tony Romo, they were considered to be mid-tier quarterbacks. Games were exciting. Most games were decided on the final possession. Whoever got the ball last, most likely, was going to win the game. Today, it seems like more and more NFL games are over by halftime. A couple of weeks ago, I did some research. I didn't include week 1 of the 2025 season because week 1 was absolutely incredible. Matter of fact, I was excited after week 1. I thought we could see one of the best NFL seasons in recent memory. Unfortunately, ever since, the NFL seems to have booked a first-class ticket on the Bruce Caboose. From week 2 through week 8, there were 104 games in the NFL. Half of those games were blowouts. 52 were decided by 10 or more points. The question is why? What the hell happened? How did the NFL go from the most exciting league to one of the most boring? I am a diehard fan of the NFL. I have trouble watching this product. So, how did we get here? Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel in the description below. Later today on the second channel, going to be talking about Jamel Hill and a handful of other former woke welfare collectors accusing ESPN of favoring conservatives, basically accusing ESPN of favoring white people. Ironically enough, one of the conservative or white stars they used as an example was Stephen A. Smith. I didn't know Stephen A. Smith was a Republican. Damn sure didn't know he was white. I guess we'll need our woke cats while going over this information, which I'm sure the information is 100% factual. If you haven't already, click the link in the description below, subscribe to the second channel. According to Nate Silver, NFL offenses have exploded. Really? I'm not doubting his data. I'm not even doubting his theory. But watching this league every week, I don't see explosive offenses. Matter of fact, most NFL offenses seem to be anemic. Nate Silver compiled some data to explain why we're seeing this so-called explosion of NFL offenses. One of his theories is the new kickoff rules have shortened the field. Check it out for yourself. The basis of this theory is, with offenses starting with better field position, NFL teams are naturally scoring more points. In 2005, highest scoring team in the league averaged 26 points a game. This year, 3 teams are averaging over 30, 4 if you include the Dallas Cowboys with 29.2 a game. The difference, though, between past seasons and this season is how points are being scored. Check it out for yourself. This chart shows the number of field goals attempted over 55 yards. As you can see, there has been a massive spike in the last couple of years. Well, KC, this is great! It means kickers are getting better! Yeah, kickers are getting better. But I'm not watching the NFL to see Blake Groupie kick a 55-yard field goal. Field goals are not exciting. Field goals aren't must-see TV. The only time a field goal is exciting is if it's taking place at the end of the game. This would be like fans of the NBA clamoring for more free throws. Who wants to watch professional basketball players compete in a fascinating free throw shooting competition? You know why they don't feature free throw shooting during the skills competition at All-Star Weekend? Because no one wants to watch it. The question is, why are NFL teams attempting more field goals, especially longer field goals? Maybe, just maybe, it's because there's been a massive decline at the quarterback position. You don't have to take my word for it. Unlike Mina Kimes, I don't pretend to be an expert. I don't pretend to be qualified to analyze a league that I've never played in. With that being the case, I'm sure we could all agree that Tom Brady is more than qualified to diagnose the problem, right? Since he retired, Tom Brady has been vocal about the lack of development of NFL quarterbacks. Last month, he sat down with Joel Klatt and he explained why we are seeing a decline in the NFL. Watch for yourself.
There's a lack of development. There's a lack of development at the pro level. And the mental learning how to study the game, learning the tactics, learning how to watch film, learning how to deal with the emotions of a competitive program, going up against a school rival, failing in front of 70,000 people. I think we're lacking the mental, emotional development. Mentally, emotionally, they're very underdeveloped. Sometimes their emotional growth is stunted by the fact that everybody is telling them how great they are all the time, or that it's not their fault all the time. You go lose a game, it's not your fault, honey. It's someone else's fault. You know, the team aspect of sports is always about us. And that was a great thing for me to learn, because for me, when I got to the pro level, the only way that I could see us winning a championship was a group of men collectively coming together to try to accomplish this great goal.
Basically, I think what Tom Brady is saying here is that modern NFL quarterbacks lack maturity. Yesterday on the second channel, we talked about Rich Rodriguez calling out his own players at West Virginia for dressing like a damn woman. What the hell's wrong with these kids? They are turning their towels into tails with it hanging off their ass. They've got glow-in-the-dark mouthpieces. I was recruiting this one kid, and he asked if he could wear high heels instead of cleats. I'm trying to turn boys into men. I'm not trying to turn men into women. Obviously, I made up the part about the high heels, but the rest of that story is true. In the clip, you heard Tom Brady heavily emphasize team. Unfortunately, we seem to have a lot of modern athletes who emphasize me over team. We seem to have a lot of young men who would rather be Instagram stars than football stars. They would rather be noticed for what they're wearing instead of how many touchdowns they're scoring. They would rather look good and lose than have a cowlick and win. Seems like every player has a damn podcast. Why? Well, we're a part of the new media. New media? I'm tired of the old media. Why in the hell would I want a new media? Most of these player podcasts suck. They're a complete waste of time. I don't want my cornerback focused on mainstream topics and media. I don't want the star of my NBA team talking about the real housewives that used to be guys. These dudes are making more money than ever, and it seems like they're less focused on their actual job. Question is, how do you solve the problem? How do you develop quarterbacks? Because according to Tom Brady, the lack of development, it's starting at a very young age. And I don't think NIL in college is helping. 20 years ago, if Tom Brady isn't the starting quarterback at Michigan, if he's the backup, he doesn't get to throw a temper tantrum and transfer to another program and play instantly. He had to sit for a season if he wanted to transfer. Today, if a player doesn't get his way, he just transfers to a school that will placate to his demands. By the time they reach the NFL, they have been told their entire lives how great they are. But when you put them on the field against an NFL defense, they're the drizzling shits, and they're not prepared mentally to handle it. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.